It's Thursday, but for most of us, it is Friday. So I'm going to say happy Thursday, Friday. I'm so happy. It is a very long weekend. It's a 3-day weekend for some, 4-day weekend for others, especially our military people. They got Monday off. I took Monday off because I decided that would be the best time to go and do stuff with my kids. I was thinking Saturday, and then I was like, nah, it's a holiday weekend. I do not want to be out this holiday weekend, at places. So we are taking our kids somewhere fun on Monday, so I'm super excited. They don't know it yet, but super, super excited. And so like a post I made this morning, I was supposed to go live yesterday because my goal is to go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but I got home and I don't know what happened, but I was tired and my body said, ma'am, it is nap time. So that's exactly what I did is I took a nap. It felt great. Granted, I had my Enzo. He laid on the couch with me. Our dog, Aspen, she was laying on top of me, but I'd go. Sorry. So I said I go live today, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And today, just like the title that I put is, today I want to talk about how to stop running on empty. The art of replenishing yourself before you burn out. And I think this is a topic that is known, but we don't just openly and outwardly say, what it is, burnout, and running on empty. And so, if you've been feeling exhausted, if you've been feeling like you're stretched thin, or you're just plain tired of being tired, you are not alone and you are not by yourself. That is most of the human race. We are tired of being tired. We are tired of being fatigued. And so, before we get into the talking points today, what is one word that you would use to describe yourself at the end of a typical day? How do you feel at the end of a day? I have a feeling what most people are going to put. But for me now, I feel happy at the end of the day. Right now, I don't really feel tired except for yesterday. So I wouldn't really use tired. Now, if you asked me that a month ago, tired and exhausted would be some of the words that I would use. So at the end of the day, think about it. They don't have to be typical words. If you feel something else, what is it that you feel at the end of a day? How do you feel? How does your body feel? How does your mind feel? Do they feel the same? Does your mind feel tired, but your body's not tired? What is it that you're feeling? And so the first talking point I want to talk about is how running on empty has become a normal part of life. We're just used to running on empty. However, we have to realize that running on empty is not sustainable. We cannot continue to run on empty. It's almost like running on empty is like a badge of honor. That's just the most amazing thing, because that means that you're so busy, like the typical saying, booked and busy. That means, oh, that's just how life is. This is the life of a working mom. This is the life of a working parent. I'm busy. It's fine. That's just what we learn to tell ourselves, is that running on empty and running on fumes. Yes, y'all, look at me. I am tired. That means I am busy. But let's think about that. What does that really mean? That truly means that, chronic depletion is not a normal part of success. It's a warning sign. A lot of people look at someone who is constantly busy, constantly on the go. Oh, they must be super successful. But then you have to think about, okay, what's going on behind the scenes? Because especially social media these days, they're going to show you the glitz and the glam. They're going to show you, they're busy. They're catching flights. They're getting picked up with car service. They're at these speaking engagements with all these people, and they're here, they're there, they're everywhere. But how many people are actually showing you the behind the scenes, the airport delays, the flight cancellations, the technical difficulties at these speaking engagements, the 2-3 hours sleep per night during these, who is showing that? They're showing you the great parts of success, but they're not showing you what it's taking for them to get there. And if you're consistently running on empty, eventually something is going to give. And it could be your health. You notice you're tired. You notice you're fatigued. You notice you're gaining weight. You notice that you're breaking out more often. You notice like you have body aches. For me, because for the last 3 years, I've had an extremely sedentary life. I work an hour for my job. I have a desk job. Then I was in school online, and then I had telehealth clients. And so I was sitting. And so I noticed that I have a hip problem, pelvis problem. They don't really know what it is, but I've noticed like my muscles are tight. My leg is getting like locked into place to where it has to pop, and it is a very painful pop. But that really didn't start happening until I was sedentary, till I was busy, till I didn't have the time to stretch. That's when I started noticing. Some other things that you start to notice is your relationships start to suffer. For me, my kids didn't get to spend quality time with me because I was always on the go. Your significant other might not be able to spend as much time with you. You guys might be fighting more frequently because you guys are disconnected. Even like your sense of self, losing your sense of self. I think I said this a few lives ago where I forgot who I was. Who am I outside of a mom, outside of my career, outside of, being a student? Who is Elisa? And that's what I was losing with this, being busy. I don't know what this thing just popped up affects, but being busy, and I just started forgetting who I was. And so running on empty, you start to notice all of these things going on with you. And so let's stop normalizing running on empty. Let's stop normalizing booked and busy. Let's stop normalizing that. Now, does that mean that there's not going to be points in life that are not like that? Absolutely not, because life is life. However, saying that is normal life and everyday life and the life for the rest of your life, no, let's stop normalizing that. Let's stop normalizing just pushing through to pure exhaustion. Let's stop normalizing that. And so now that, now that we've talked about, stop normalizing burnout, stop normalizing busy. Let's look at what are the warning signs that you are really getting depleted, that you are teetering towards burnout. And something I think that a lot of us we just don't notice is your mind and your body are going to whisper warning signs to you before your body and your mind is screaming at you. Like there's going to be little whispers. Like yesterday, like for me, my body said, "Ma'am, I need a nap." And so I took a nap. Now, if I would not have taken a nap, I could have been irritated. But some signs that you're nearing burnout or that you're running on empty is irritability, anger, snapping at small things. That's something that I definitely did notice, is that little things. Like sometimes my kids end up, a parent, especially mom. Like I'm like, okay, what? Like you're, and normally I love to hear the word mom, but when I'm running on empty, it was not like an irritation, but it was like, okay, just overload. Forgetting details and struggling to focus. Focus is very hard, especially when you feel like you're a multitasker by nature. When you're starting to run on empty, like that multitasking is not multitasking anymore. You're not completing anything. You're not finishing anything. You're forgetting what you were doing. Just forgetting things. Another warning sign is feeling disconnected. Again, you could be at a party, you could be at a dinner with some friends, and you are physically there, but you're not mentally there. You don't feel like you're part of the crowd. You feel just disconnected from what's going on. You feel disconnected from your friends at dinner. You feel disconnected from the conversation. You feel disconnected in general. And I think another thing is forgetting the last time you were excited about anything. And again, I talked about that in one of my other lives. You forget, like, when was the last time you were super happy or super excited about something? And not like something fleeting, but like something that is just like pinpoint. You don't have to sit here and really think, when was the last time that I was really excited? And so out of all these things, these warning signs, which one have you noticed in yourself? Like, have you noticed irritability? Have you noticed forgetting details? Have you noticed feeling disconnected? Have you noticed, not remembering the last time you were excited? Like, which of these do you feel like has represented you lately? It doesn't mean the whole time, but like lately, like which of those describe you? And now that you've thought about that, the next thing is, okay, now that we understand the warning signs, now that we understand, let's not normalize this. Now let's look at, okay, let's understand what fuels you. And not just what fuels you, but what drains you. Because you got to know both. You got to know what is going to give you energy and what is going to suck the life right out of you. And we have to understand that not all rest is created equal. And what I mean by that is what is rest to you might not be rest to me. And activities that might look relaxing might actually drain you even more. And one of these things, again, I'm very guilty of this, is scrolling through your phone. It seems like a very mundane activity, like super chill. But then you realize, like, you look at your phone and it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you started scrolling at 8 o'clock at night. And you're like, oh snap. And you're waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever time you got to get up for work. And you're like, oh man, I was clearing my mind and now I'm getting less sleep. So it seemed like a very mundane, relaxing activity before you realize that it just ate up your sleep time. It could be saying yes to something that you really didn't want to say yes to, or maybe something that you thought you had the time for, or at the time you had time for, and then things pop up and now you're like dreading this thing that you said yes to. And so take a minute and think about, what is it that fills your cup? It could be sleeping. That filled my cup yesterday. It could be quiet time. That's one of the things I said in another live, is waking up 10 minutes early in the morning when everybody else is asleep, going downstairs and just sitting on the couch, sitting on the floor. It could be stretching, meditating, whatever it is during quiet time. Because how often, especially if you're a mom and or a parent, how often do you get a house that is quiet and not hustling and bustling with little ones or big ones? And for some people, this is not me. People that are creative, that part of my brain has been dormant my whole life. I am not a creative. I'm more of a book person, knowledge person, but the creative side, that is definitely not me. But that could be drawing, that could be painting, that could be knitting, sewing. It could be anything creative. That could be what fills your cup, is allowing the creative juices to flow in your brain allows your body to rest, because maybe that's what does it for you. Again, it's not one size fits all, because that is not for me. It would frustrate me because I cannot paint a pretty picture. I cannot draw a pretty picture. And so now that you thought about what are some things that fill your cup, now think about what drains your energy the fastest. It could be a person that drains your energy. For a parent, sometimes there's going to be points where your kids are draining you, like especially when they're home for school break and they're home all the time, and maybe maybe you can't afford to send them to camp the whole summer or the whole winter break, spring break. Maybe you don't have the money for that, so you have to keep them home. And then you're trying to entertain them all day, every day. And then anybody who has little ones, especially, what happens when they're home? All they want to do is eat. At least that's my 5 and 8-year-old. All they want to do is eat all day. Eat. I'm hungry. Can I have a snack? Can I have breakfast? Can I have lunch? Can I have a snack? Can I have dessert? And so, sometimes those are periods where those little people are the ones draining you the most. It could be a coworker. It could be a boss. Something that drains you the quickest, overcommitting. That's definitely me. A lot of people notice that about me. My pastor once said, outside of me, because he's a pastor, so, and he's, that's just part of his life. But he was like, I've never met anyone as busy as you that keeps their schedule as packed as you. He's like, I don't know how you do it. Like, why do you do it? And I'm like, I like to stay busy. But I'm learning to not stay booked and busy, as the saying goes. I've learned to, okay, let me take some time and rest. And another one that I'm also guilty of is lack of boundaries. That's something I'm definitely gonna have to work on as a therapist and a coach, is, creating those boundaries that respects my time, respects my space, but also respects my clients, because I also understand that, they're coming to me for a reason. My therapy clients are coming to me for a reason. My coaching clients are coming to me for a reason. But like them, just like, they would expect their boundaries to be respected, and letting them know for, up front, hey, these are my boundaries. These are my operating times. This is when I'm available. If you call me or text me outside of those hours, I will get back to you during business hours. So just not having boundaries, is that, depleting your energy the quickest. Your career, there's a lot of things, but what is it for you that is draining you the quickest? And then also, again, you want to talk about, or you want to write down, what is it that fills your cup? And have plenty of things, have a bunch of things that fill your cup, because, you want to keep things interesting, and you also don't want to get bored. And so, make a list of several different things that fills your cup and gives you energy. What are those things? Walks, exercise. I'm trying to add exercise back to my routine, because I realize when I'm actually working out, even though I'm tired and my muscles hurt, I feel amazing after a workout. And so I'm not tired, especially if after a workout, like I drink a protein shake or something. I notice like I have a lot of energy, and I had so much more energy when I was working out consistently. Even the days that I would get like 3 hours of sleep for whatever reason, if I was on a workout routine, like I still had energy. And so that's something that fills my cup. Reading, I haven't got to read yet because I just got done with school, so I'm giving my mind a break. But reading is something that fills my cup. I'm all about growth. And so reading books on personal growth, mindset, money, anything that's going to help me grow fills my cup. So those are sort of the things that fill my cup. And then asking yourself, do you know the difference between what fills your cup and what is draining you? And then when you start to notice the difference, that's when you can start making more intentional choices. Because so many times we are making choices not intentionally, but out of habit. It could be out of what we think, as opposed to intentionally doing things that we know is going to help us in some way, shape, or form. And so now let's look at how replenishing yourself is a daily practice and not a one-time fix. And that's something I think it's like, when people work out, they feel like if they work out for a month, then they should lose 30 pounds or 40 pounds. They should be in shape after a month because they've been doing it, and they don't understand that it's a daily practice, monthly practice, yearly practice, lifetime practice. And so we have to understand that. And so, when you think, when I used to think of, what is a relaxing day? A spa day, a vacation, which is what, we came back from a 2-week vacation, but how often can we do those things? And now some people are able to do like a spa day or facial monthly or bi-weekly. They have the money for that. But most people nowadays do not have the money to be consistent with that, consistent with vacations. Or if they take vacations, it's short vacations, which is fine. But if you can only do that once or twice a year, a 3-day vacation isn't really going to do much for the year as a whole. And so you can't sprint and be on the go for 11 months out of the year and expect that 2 weeks off is going to magically make you refreshed and renewed and ready to go for the next 11 months, 11 and a half months. And so look at it like that. Like, I'm a sprinter by nature. I hate distance. But obviously as a sprinter, one of the things that we did when I was in track is distance, because it helps with other areas of sprinting. But can someone sprint? Okay, let me rephrase that. Can a typical person sprint a mile? Full force, full run for a mile? Probably not. But can a person sprint 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters? Yeah, sure. Am I one of those 400-meter sprinters? No. Can I do 100? Yes. Can I do 200? Yes. But so think of it like that. Think of it as a track analogy. Can a marathon runner do 26 miles in a sprint? No, they keep a steady pace. Typical person. I'm not talking about them ones that be running 26 miles in 3 hours. I'm talking about the typical people, everyday people. Can they sprint a whole marathon? No. And so you have to look at it like that. So take care of yourself consistently. Do not think that you can sprint, take a short break and sprint for another 26 miles and take a 5-minute break, sprint 26. It doesn't work like that. And so, or whatever other analogy would help you better understand that it's replenishing ourselves is a consistent thing, not a one-time thing, or not something that is sustainable for long periods of time. Like whatever analogy works for you. And so another analogy could be like, okay, when you think of replenishing, think of brushing your teeth. Small daily care prevents bigger problems. So if you brush your teeth 2 times a day, you're less likely to get a cavity. If you brush your teeth 2 times a day and floss, you're even less likely to get a cavity. If you brush your teeth twice a day, floss, and use mouthwash, that number is even more decreased. So the more care that you do daily, the less you're going to need a root canal, the less you're going to need a tooth pulled, the less you're going to need dentures, whatever it is. This obviously is outside of anything genetic when it comes to this analogy. But think of it like that. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, stuff like that. It's about small incremental things daily. And again, it's not about these huge monumental things, small things, just like in the book Atomic Habits. Small things over time compound and it becomes easier and more natural for you. And the next thing is, how can we, redefining rest as necessary and not a luxury? Too often we think of things that we should be doing daily as something that we do once we've finished all of our chores, all of our tasks, whatever it is we were meant to do, then we can rest. No, we've learned that the only way to rest is by doing more. Sometimes, we have to do that for a short period of time in our life. As entrepreneurs, you have to work long hours to be able to, get your business where you want it to be. But the whole point is to get it to a point where you hire other people to work in your business so you can work on your business instead of in and on. And I think the other thing that many people think is that you have to prove you're worthy of rest. We have to stop wanting other people's approvals and opinions. If someone feels like why are you resting? You didn't do nothing. I don't really care. You don't know what I do in my daily life. You don't know why I need to rest. My body is telling me I need to rest. My mind is telling me I need to rest, and I'm going to rest. But we worry too much about what other people think. We worry about other people's approval, other people's opinions, especially with with social media. We look at, how many comments did you get? How many likes did you get? How many shares did you get? How much interaction did you get? And people feel like, they have 30,000 friends. They must be doing something. But it's social media. How many people that have 30,000 friends, 12,000 friends, 15,000 friends, and you see all their posts and they got like a comment. And so quantity doesn't equal quality. And then you'll see people who have like 900 friends and they got like 30 comments. So it's just, we have to stop basing things on other people's opinions and other people's thoughts on us. We got to stop doing that. Rest is not indulgence, it's maintenance. You have to balance. Like I said, there's no true even balance when it comes to like personal and professional life. There's always going to be some mismatch, but we have to understand that we have to rest. And so let's look at what are some things that you can realistically do to kind of help you get the rest that you need. The first thing is taking 5-minute micro breaks throughout the day. When I was at work, I used to just work, and I would eat at my desk and just go about my day. But then I started realizing, like, no, I want to leave my desk. I want to go out because I work in a secure location. So we don't have windows. And so I'm like, I never know if it's sunny outside, if it's raining, what's going on. So I go outside and I'm like, okay, let me feel like the temperature. Oh, it's warm. I like to see the sun. I love the sun. And so I started taking my, it's actually 15-minute breaks, but I started taking those breaks outside of my desk. And I noticed when I did that, I just felt more refreshed. Something is saying no to one thing each week that drains you. In one of my other lives, saying no, we feel guilty, but learn to say no to what is draining you the most. If it's feasible. Sometimes what's draining us the most is not feasible to say no to. So obviously use your best judgment. And then starting or ending your day, again, like I said, with 10 minutes of silence, journaling, stretching, whatever you want to do with that 10 minutes. Use it wisely. Use it when your kids are in bed, before they wake up, after they've gone to bed. Use 10 minutes if you have kids. Just start it end your day with the 10 minutes of journaling, stretching, silence, doing nothing. Another thing you can do is connect with someone who makes you feel seen. I struggle with this in the sense of outside of my immediate family. I'm trying to learn to spend time with my friends, whether that be lunch, whether it be whatever. And it's normally church friends, the ones that, they're always the ones that say, I'm praying for you. They listen to me and we just have fun. And so learning to spend time with someone who makes you feel seen is another thing that can help you. And then this is something I'm learning too, but schedule 1 hour a week for you to do something for you, whether that be, again, I don't like using exercise because you should definitely exercise more than 1 day a week. But if that's something that's what you do, is 1 day a week, you walk for an hour, or you swim for an hour, or you golf for an hour, or you go to the spa for an hour, or you read for an hour, whatever it is, something that is just for you that you will not feel guilty about. And so those are just some of the things that you can do. Again, this is just a short list of a vast many of things that you can do that can help replenish you. So out of the things, those 6 things, taking a 5-minute micro break throughout the day, saying no to one thing that drains you the most, starting and or ending your day with 10 minutes of silence, journaling, stretching, connecting with someone who makes you feel seen, and then scheduling 1 hour a week for you that's guilt-free. Which of those resonates with you the most, or that you currently do, or that you would like to do. And if you have other things that other people might be able to do that will help them replenish, list those in the comments. Write in the comments what replenishes you. What are some things that you can do consistently that help you get back to an energized, you. And lastly, what I want to end this with, and I've said this in quite a few lives, is you cannot pour from an empty cup. So we have to stop normalizing running on empty, pushing through exhaustion. We have to stop doing that, and we have to stop feeling guilty for resting. We have to stop feeling like we need other people's opinions and approvals to take a rest. Nobody but you can tell you whether it's time for you to rest. Nobody but you knows whether you're truly exhausted. Nobody. And so we have to stop seeking that outside validation. We have to start looking within, looking at ourselves, and being in tune with our own bodies. And that's why I think sometimes silence, that's why it's like mindfulness exercises. Again, a lot of things that I do in therapy is something that people should be doing daily in their life. We start our therapy sessions with mindfulness exercises because sometimes, clients come in and they've had a stressful day. They've had this something, big on their mind that's been weighing on them. And so they're coming in just thinking about all these other things. So we start the first 5 minutes with mindfulness. Let's get present with today. Let's get present with right now. Not even just today. Let's get present with this very moment. So we do mindfulness exercises. And so that'll be a good thing for people to do. Because I think, when was the last time that you were in touch with all 5 of your senses? Sight, touch, smell, sound, taste. When was that? Did not come out right. But when was the last time that you were really in tune with all 5 of your senses, or that you did something that used all 5 of your senses? Because I guarantee you, there's some of our senses are stunted because we don't really use them. There's some that we rely on more. People that see, we rely on our sight, and people that hear, we can rely on our hearing. But eating, a sense of taste. Meals are not meant to be enjoyed now. People rush meals. They want to eat in 10 minutes and be done. So I think sense of smell and sense of taste are some of the senses that we probably don't really utilize as much as we could. And maybe even sense of touch, because we're just rushing through life. But sight and sound, I'm sure, for the most part, those are senses that we are very heightened with. But, sit with yourself. Get in touch with your senses. Get in touch with your body. Okay, what is not normal? Because you'd be surprised if people don't know what ache is not normal for them. Hey, yeah, aches are normal, but hey, this is not an ache I'm used to. So getting in touch with yourself. So, definitely put some tips and tricks for other people that can help replenish them. Let other people know what drains you the most. And then, what are some things that you practice yourself consistently daily to help replenish and recharge yourself, and maybe it can't be daily. Maybe there's a day or two here that life is life in and you don't have the time to do that. That's fine. But as long as you're being intentional with your steps, being intentional with your replenishment, being intentional with your rest, then that one day won't mess up, the progress that you've made. So I hope this resonated with you guys. I hope that this makes you start to think and really has you in touch with yourself, because that was the whole point. But definitely make sure you comment some of the things that replenishes you, some of the things that drain you, and then any other tips and tricks that you have that may be normal, that may be out there, but is really helpful to you. Make sure you comment that. And hopefully you guys have a safe 4th of July weekend. Please either drive sober or have a DD, designated driver. But, make sure you come home to your family this weekend. Don't do anything crazy. It's not worth it. But enjoy this. It's so sunny here and so nice here, y'all. But enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your 4th. And I actually will be on tomorrow, because I did say I'll be on tomorrow. I'll probably be on in the morning tomorrow because it's a holiday and I'm home. And I don't want to say get out of the way, but get out of the way to spend time with my family and my friends. But enjoy your 4th, and I will see y'all tomorrow morning.